What's that? Let me show you. Just go to your app store.
Or maybe you need to request the birth certificate.
Kim, I can't find my birth certificate.
Oh, it probably just got misplaced during the move. Actually, we can request a new one through the Gary 311 app.
Okay. New technology. I'm in.
Let me show you.
And guess what? You can even report illegal dumping.
Look at him! Just dumping his garbage on private property.
Well, caught him in 4K. You know we can report him on the Gary 311 app and to GPD's Taste Tip.
That's good.
Never feel frustrated again about an issue. Use the Gary 311 app to report all your non-emergency needs. It's a free application that allows users to report community issues, pinpoint the location with GPS, attach photos, and more. All right from your smartphone. Download the Gary 311 app today. Available on iOS and Android.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Gary Board of Zoning Appeals public meeting for Thursday, February 13th, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bonds? Vice President Hawkins?
Yes.
Present.
Member Fawcett?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You should have received copies of the minutes in your packet. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I move for passage.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for January 9th, 2025. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, old business, BZA 2025-02. Overview.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Corey Sharp. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of this petition. You did have a public hearing at the last meeting, so you will not need to open up a public meeting or public hearing if you do not wish to. The petitioner is Mr. and Mrs. James Cook. The request is a development standard variance. So this is a development standards 2025-02. There are 4 requests. The first one is to decrease the minimum lot width from 50 to 40 feet, increase the maximum floor area ratio from 0.5 to 0.53, increase the maximum building coverage from 35% to 43%, and decrease the front yard setback along Lakeshore Drive, which is the lakefront, from 25 feet to 14 feet. The address of this petition is at 8343 Lakeshore Drive. It is a residential home. In your packet, you will see recommendations and considerations for you to make for this petition. I will add that in addition to Mr. Cooper's presentation at the last meeting, we did have some correspondence over the last month. I've included that correspondence in your packet. In addition, we have received several letters of support for this petition for your consideration. There is the Mr. and Mrs. Weaver's request that was included in your last packet with a request to deny. But then we also have several requests for support that's also in your packet from Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Martin, and another one for Mr. and Mrs. Martin. Oh, and Ms. Bloomquist. I will turn the petition over to you, Mr. Hawkins, and you can determine how you would like to move forward.
Thanks, Corey. At this time, if the petitioner would like, he can make any further comments. You got it.
Green light on. Thank you, sir. First, I would like to mention, Ms. Sharp, that I'm aware that there were comments sent from my neighbor to the east, Phoebe Selden, and another individual, Tom Randall. I noticed those weren't in the packet.
I own property at 8353 Lakeshore Drive. I've reviewed the package and the plans, Jim Cooper and Deborah Martin, and I have no objections. Furthermore, I support the proposed redevelopment at the above listed property along with any and all variances requested. On another matter, I very much appreciate that Jim and Debbie tore down the old house right away as it did not have substantial encroachment, and I was scared of rodent population inside it. It was a complete eyesore to the whole neighborhood. And the other is from an email from Tom Randall on 2/12. I'm writing this letter in support of James A. Cooper and Deborah Martin's request for development standards variances. A new home at 8343 Lakeshore Drive will be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. The previous house was an eyesore, and I'm sure are happy to see it gone and the property planted over and maintained while the building plans are finalized. In particular, I support the request to decrease the front yard setback from 25 to 14 feet. This is consistent with other lakefront homes. Having a front yard setback requirement doesn't seem relevant without true Lakeshore Drive to the north. Respectfully, Mr. Randall. Thank you for sharing those, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you. So I've actually typed up a statement today, so I didn't take an inordinate amount of the board's time, so please bear with me. Good afternoon. I first wish to thank the board for agreeing to hear and consider our developmental variance petition. We also wish to thank the zoning staff. Further, we wish to thank our neighbors for submitting public comments and overwhelming support of our petition. My name is, as you know, James Cooper. Both Deborah Martin and I have been residents of Gary for the past 30 plus years, and we are the petitioners. The proposed improvements will be our new age-in-place primary residence. As we've heard, with the exception of the front yard setback, zoning staff support approval of our petition. Therefore, for the most part, I'll focus on the front yard setback. After the meeting of the 9th of January, I researched the staff recommendation and exchanged emails with Ms. Sharp. The resulting emails are included in your package today. Since purchasing the property, we promptly demolished the unkept and rotting neighborhood eyesore, and in so doing also eliminated the improvements encroaching on the eastern neighbor's property, and as a result increased public safety access. We have worked to keep our neighbors apprised of our development plans. Our request for relief is primarily driven by the narrowness of the lot. This results in a narrow residence extending further into the length of the lot than would otherwise be the case for a wider lot. Another, our access to the property. Lakeshore Drive is a 20-foot alley, of which approximately only 14 feet of the road or alley is paved. As Ms. Sharp had said previously, the actual platted Lakeshore Drive is north of the property line and most likely will not ever be improved. There's no roadside parking, and so our planning and design considerations for our residents included both our safety and public safety. This included general traffic flow and large emergency vehicles needing to pass. Another is health issues. Our planning considerations included space for an elevator in the home and other aging in place items, and including ADA. Zoning staff has recommended deny or reduce our request for a 14-foot front yard setback. With regard to a reduction, there's a suggested alternative recommendation of allowing us a 20, good Lord, I don't want to make it any worse, 20-foot setback, which would align with our neighbor immediately to the east. And I would note that the one support letter I presented today was our neighbor to the east, and she recommends that we get the 14-foot setback variance. As I have shown in my follow-up research, our proposed resident aligns with current and existing neighborhood development characteristics, and that numerous residences along the lakefront have a front yard setback of 14 feet or less. For example, our neighbor 5 doors to the west has a front yard setback of 6.7 feet. Excuse me. Our neighbor 2 doors east has a front yard setback of approximately 13.7 feet, and there are others. Granting of the variances as requested would not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to our property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Attesting to this are the public comments from neighbors in support of our petition. Strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance would result in practical difficulties in the use of our property. In closing, we ask that you approve the relief we seek, including the front yard setback of 14 feet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Since this is a continuation, I don't see a need for any additional comments, but if, Mr. Cooper, if you have someone that's willing to speak for just 2 minutes, we'll allow one.
I was expecting someone, sir, but I don't see them here, so.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move for passage of this request. I motion that we approve 2025-02 as requested.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second that we approve BZA 2025-02. Are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Yes.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. And I'll just note for the record, Mr. Fawcett is now in attendance and was able to hear most of that. Vice President Hawkins?
Yes.
Secretary Jones? Yes. Member Cook?
Yes, Jones.
Member Fawcett?
Yes.
All right, we'll show by a vote of 4-0, the developmental standards variance requested in BZA 2025-02 are approved.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is BZA 2025-07. Here again is a continuation from our last meeting in January. Corey?
Thank you. Petition 2025 is a continuation, as Mr. Hawkins mentioned. This is a special use request for a short-term rental located at 6110 Ash Avenue. We had suggested at the last meeting that this be continued primarily because building permits had not been pulled for the improvements on the property. Since that time, they have pulled the necessary permits. Staff recommendation is favorable based on the building permit being filed and meeting the special use criteria. I will note that there are public notices that have been received, or public input that has been received. It is part of your packet. We also did receive one email today that, if you would be so kind, I'll read that into the record. It is from T. Braun, located at 1107 Ripley Street in Oak. It says, "Good day to the zoning administrator for Gary. Thank you for the opportunity to receive knowledge and give feedback regarding the proposed 8045 Oak Avenue." Sorry, wrong address. We'll save that one for later. Later on the petition. So again, the recommendation is favorable from the staff because it meets the criteria necessary for a special use permit and has necessary building permits.
Is the petitioner present? Would you like to make some comments? This will open the public hearing section. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Laura. You've seen me here before representing other properties for vacation rentals. I'm just doing the same thing here. I know last time we had a few people, a couple ladies that were here who are close neighbors who had some bad experiences with this property. I just want to say that the property was previously rented out full-time to a tenant, and that tenant was hosting parties or listing it on Airbnb, excuse me. Since then, that tenant is no longer there. The owners have come in and cleaned up the place. They've made it somewhat of a romantic getaway that is aimed towards and marketed towards couples, probably just one couple at a time, but it can host up to 6 people. There are 3 bedrooms, two beds, and so we don't foresee large parties coming. We plan to keep a close eye on this. There are cameras. I'm well aware of what can happen at Airbnbs, and I watch all of my properties like a hawk, and I screen all of my guests before they come in. They have to meet criteria before they can even book my places. So I'm representing the Payans, and they are on the same boat, and they would just like to have a vacation rental. And since our last meeting, when I reported back to the Payans, she sent out letters to all the neighbors, personal letters, apologizing for what happened with her previous tenant and saying that she does not foresee it happening with her or us. And I don't either. That's all.
Board members, that letter that Laura just mentioned is included in your packet. It's the second page behind your cover sheet on this agenda item.
Do you know if there's currently a permit issued for the short-term rental?
A permit issue? As for what type of an issue?
Short-term rental permit?
No.
No?
Not that I know of. I'm pretty sure that was part of the criteria to get to this point, and that was already granted.
Okay, so you're not aware of it?
No, is there?
Yes.
Yes, so they applied, the owners applied for that right off the bat, along with the business license, knowing that that was what had happened.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-07?
Hi, thank you. My name is Patty Gibson King, and I was here the first time that this issue came up. And I do hope that you all do not grant this Airbnb there, because before it was always had Airbnb before we even came in front of you all. They was using this property for that. It's my understanding the last time I was here, you were going to check to see how many times the police had been called out to this property and the FBI, because they have been there for over some years at this one location here. Activity going on in there, and there are a lot of seniors that live on the street there. We've not had any problems until this house came up to be this Airbnb. And before it came up, they were doing that. They always had renters from other various places that came there, and the police was there all the time. So with that being said, and then she mentioned that there was a letter. Well, the letter just came now because I guess they want to do the proper things now to get this situation going on, but they was not concerned years ago when the police was there and the FBI was there, what have you not. So with that being said, and then I gave pictures. The last time I was here, that pool is still in that yard, no fence around it or anything of such. So I don't think that, and then there was some more people that was here the last time that I was here that gave their concern, and there were some letters from other people that were sent in from their concern as well. So thank you all for hearing my concern.
Is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-07? Okay, the public portion is closed. What's your pleasure?
Yes, I gave you some pictures of the pool when I was here last time. There's no fence. Yeah, they got pool there. No, and my house is next to the house.
I can
Mr. President, it look as if the petitioner has a hand up.
Yes, please.
In regards to the pool, that is from the previous tenant who moved out in December. So that pool is leaving. As soon as the ground thaws, she's taking that pool. Yeah, it's an eyesore. Yeah, the owners don't like it. They don't want it. In fact, they came in January and redid the whole inside of the house, and they want to do the outside as soon as spring comes, clean that all up and make it nice. Yeah, the previous tenant's taking it. It's her pool. She put it up. She's taking it with her wherever you take pools.
Mr. President, can I speak? When is the pool coming down?
In the spring.
So right now, there's nothing protecting it from, is any water in it?
I don't know what's in it. If it is, it's frozen.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure.
Let me ask you this. What if the young lady fails to come get it? At
It'll
what
be
point
torn-
would you say we'll tear it down?
Oh, yeah. They'll definitely tear it down. They hate it.
At what point would you make that determination?
Well, I happen to know the tenant, the previous tenant, and I would be on her as soon as it gets warm enough to get rid of it, yeah. Anything else?
I just want to say one more thing, if I may. This young lady here is well aware. She's been monitoring this property. I'm sorry, she's been monitoring this property. She knows about that pool. She knows about other things that's been going on at that house. She knows that people had came and rented the place, and then they turned it into an Airbnb themselves. They was just renting it out, so she's aware. She's aware of what's going on there. She knows about that pool and everything. So that pool has been there. It did not just come there in January. That pool has been there with no fence at all. So she's aware of what's going on at that 6110 address.
Thank you. Board members?
Mr. President, she has assured us that she's going to discombobulate that pool. And staff went out and investigated, and staff sent up a favorable. So I'm moving for a favorable.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to know, well, from the lady that was speaking, does she have proof or anything that's saying that they're going to tear the pool down or put a fence around it or whatever?
I wasn't aware that I needed proof of that. I would have figured out what kind of proof and would have brought that today. I'm sure the Payans want that pool gone. And if it's coming down to a matter of the pool to get approval, I'll go out there tomorrow with a sawzall and saw that ugly thing down myself.
Okay, well, what I'm asking, ma'am, is do you have a contract or something that's going to take the pool down and let the board know that it's coming down, or is a fence going to go around it or something?
There's no fence going around it. I think they do plan to put a fence in, but not because of that pool. That pool is coming down. I know for a fact the pool is coming down. I know for a fact that it's the previous tenant. And I saw it myself and made a comment about it to the owners, and they said, yeah, she's coming to get it. She said it's too cold right now. The previous tenant right now is in India. She'll be back at the end of the month. At that time, I can call her and say, you have to come get this pool down. You want me to sawzall it? And she might say, yeah, go for it. It's just, it's not a big, it's a rinky-dink, cheap, low-quality, above-ground pool. It's not anything major to take down.
Thank you.
Okay,
Board
thank
members, may I remind you that we can offer a condition on the approval. There is a motion on the floor, however.
Would you like that I withdraw the motion and make a new motion? Mr. President, I move for favorable with the compliance of the pool coming down.
I second that motion, but I do still want some kind of notification or something that's saying that that pool is coming down. But I second it.
It's been moved and second that we approve BZA 2025-07 contingent upon the pool being removed. May 1. When? May 1.
Is May 1 an appropriate time? This is February. I don't know when contractors go to work. I think
She said
April.
spring, so May is definitely.
May 1st.
It's been moved and second that we approve BZA 2025-07 contingent on the pool being removed by May 2nd. What is your pleasure? Oh, it's roll call. Sorry.
Okay, roll call. Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes.
Member Cook? No. Member Fawcett?
No.
It's a tie, 2-2, so it does not pass.
Okay, next item on the agenda is BZA 2025-06.
Just as a procedural matter, so then we will forward this on to City Council with a tie vote, 2-2, and then this will, all special uses after they come here first is just a recommendation to the City Council, and then it gets followed up with on the City Council agenda. So just wanted to point that out.
Super, thank you.
2025-06 is another petition for a short-term rental located at 8045 Oak Avenue by Mr. Scott. I would not dare to bludgeon his last name. This is a residential zone. It is off of Oak Avenue, as I mentioned. Again, we are recommending a favorable recommendation based on their petition meeting the special use criteria, which is also in your packet. Prior to February 7th, we had not received any input. However, as I mentioned earlier, we do have an email from Ms. T. Braun on 2/13. So it says, "Good day to the zoning administrator for Gary. Thank you for the opportunity to receive knowledge and give feedback regarding the proposed 8045 Oak Avenue plan for that home. I absolutely under no circumstances agree or approve to the petition for short-term rental at this property. This has been a family home for decades. Everything that occurs at this home can be heard by all surrounding neighbors as far as outside crowd noise, increased beach traffic on Oak and Ripley Street, and increased parking and visitors. This is an undesirable situation and will not be tolerated. Gary has over 100 Airbnbs, but there have been hundreds of objections to and complaints filed with Gary Police. Thank you sincerely, T. Braun, 1107 Ripley Street in Oak."
Is the petitioner present?
I believe the petitioner is out of town. I did get an email this morning requesting if there was a way to join in remotely. I informed them that there is a live stream, but no way to interact with the commission remotely.
Thank you. Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-06? Is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-06? Is there anyone interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-06? Hearing none. Board, what is your pleasure?
And Mr. President, can we defer this until the next meeting and the petitioner get in here to speak on this?
Yes, you can.
Okay, well, I move a motion that we defer this until the petitioner can come in and speak.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we deferred BZA 2025-06 until the host can come in and speak. Roll call.
Vice President Hawkins,
Yes.
Secretary Jones,
Yes.
Member Cook, Member Fawcett.
Yes.
We'll show that by a vote of 3-1, the matter has been deferred to the March meeting of the BZA.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is BZA 2025-08.
2025-08 is a development standard variance. The petitioner is DVG Team on behalf of the Tillotson Joint Venture. That is a joint venture between the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club. The property is located at 2762 West 18th Street and 1502-16 Marshall, Gary, Indiana. The zoning classification currently is R2-R5. In the comprehensive plan, it is a mixed-use corridor. Prior to the 12th, today's the 12th, prior to the 7th, we did not receive any input regarding this petition. The proof of publication was reviewed and it is complete. This is a development standard variance to allow a monument sign, including a changeable LED message component and building signage as shown in the application. In your application, there are several there's the application itself. Then there are several drawings showing what the new sign will look like. Again, the monument sign is not a static sign, it is a changeable LED sign. And then there are several wall signs shown on the supporting drawings. Staff recommendation is a favorable recommendation based on the design presented and the development standard variance criteria. That concludes my report, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you very much. I see the petitioner has already approached
I
the
am here.
microphone.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Greg Lorig of DVG Team, 1155 Troutwine Road, Crown Point, Indiana. As Ms. Sharp mentioned, DVG is the applicant on behalf of the Tillotson Joint Venture for this petition for development standards various and the next item on the agenda, which is special use. With me today, I also have Mike Jessen from Boys and Girls Club, Jay Buckmaster and Todd Sevens-Coleman from YMCA, and Jeff Wolf from Shive Hattery, who's the architect for the project. This project is located 2762 West 18th Avenue. I did want to give you guys just some background on the project before we get into the specific request. This Tillotson Opportunity Campus project will provide a wide range of opportunities that are easily accessed through a central location. The project will encompass resources of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Northwest Indiana, Methodist Hospital, and the Crossroads YMCA to provide childcare, exercise classes, community programming, and a healthcare clinic. The project has received funding from numerous sources, including City of Gary, State of Indiana through a READY grant, and the Dean and Barbara White Family Foundation, and is expected to be a $30 to $40 million total investment in the community. The project aims to be a transformational and generational project by providing numerous services to the citizens of Gary. The project will include remodeling of the approximate south half of the Boys and Girls Club building, including selective demolition, finished carpentry, flooring, ceilings, painting, and drywall. There will also be significant plumbing, HVAC upgrades. The approximate north half of the Boys and Girls Club building is proposed to be demolished to allow for construction of a new YMCA building that will connect to the existing Boys and Girls building that will remain. The new YMCA building will include child watch, kids club, community room, 3 full-size basketball courts, locker rooms, swimming pool, warm water pool, spa, sauna, steam room, running track, exercise equipment and weights, studio rooms, and space for Methodist Hospital Healthcare Clinic. There will also be significant site improvements, some of which are related with this signage that we're requesting, including site grading, retention basins, site utilities, storm sewer, asphalt parking lots, concrete sidewalks, curbs and gutters, and so forth. DVG is the surveyor and civil engineer on a design-build team. Shive Hattery is the lead architect, and the contractor is Berglund Construction with Powers and Sons out of Gary. Last month we were here for primary plat. Actually, I guess that was at Plan Commission, which was approved. That'll just be combining two lots that Boys and Girls Club already owns. So we've been working with Corey and various city staff throughout this project, and we met last year and decided, even though this is residential zoning and Boys and Girls is already operating basically as a community center, that it was still good to come here for the special use approval. We could have certainly come earlier for that, but part of the reason we're coming today is we wanted to try to get our signage design figured out and hopefully appear to this board one time. So specific to this item with the signage, I think it's pretty clear what we're proposing in the packet. It's about a 12-foot by 9-foot monument sign with a changeable LED message. It identifies the different businesses located in the building. This is pretty much standard in line with monument signs YMCA has at their other locations, maybe slightly taller just because we have a lot of entities to identify. And then as far as the building signage goes, it's just key for identifying who's on which side of the building and which side you should park on and so forth. So we feel that the signage on the building is architecturally pleasing and also informative. So this is kind of what we would do if this was a commercial site, but it's a unique property that's currently residential. So there's really not much room in the ordinance for signage in a residential property. So this is what we'd like to do that we think fits with the project and what we're requesting approval from.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone else that wish to speak for or against this petition? Please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 2 minutes.
All right. Name is Bruce Curry. I'm a resident at 1771 Marshall Street. We reside, me and my wife, with my father-in-law across from the project. As in speaking for him, as in behalf of him, 91, he couldn't make it today, but I just want to make a point. The project itself, we support 100%. The thing, what I like to get on is like the residents need a conceptual drawings or something. We had the meetings in the neighborhood around what they're doing. I've been in Annapolis and looked at some of the designs that you've had. They look nice in the area. This is a residential area, so there's two I call points there I want to make. One is when you do signage, especially around traffic and safety and that kind of thing, that area, that 19th Street, people just blow through that double, and Marshall, they just go through the signs. I've talked to the chief of police there, but there's going to be more traffic, but they do need to do some traffic study around that, and if there's some data around the numbers they think they expect to increase growth in that area, should look at that. Also, when you do your signage at night, for sleeping and, residents and stuff, you don't want to make sure there's glares going in the windows and things like that. And if there's security cameras and things like that, that the signage complements whatever the door alarms that might be around the neighborhood. Right now, inadequate lighting, it's not maybe their fault, but a part of the project is, I think, $30 million project. It should be very safe in the neighborhood. And there's a combination, there's a park there, I think Tolliston Park. I don't know if there's a combination in the project of planning between the city and this private group to really upgrade that whole area. And as they're doing the signage for the parks, the whole area is consistent with the signage because, you want to complete beautification. And that's all I've got, but we're very supportive. My wife here, that's her dad's house right across the street. And then the other thing was some of the trees need to be addressed in that area. When storms and stuff, tornado, they're going to fall. Pretty big oaks. and they got to really address that because you're putting a new building in. I'd hate to see one of those oaks tumble on that old Tolleson School. So, I mean, it's a nice investment, but you got to look at that whole piece. And the other thing is, if the technology comes in where you're using fiber optics, any of that, it'd be great because it would take down some of the old traditional, everything in cities now are going underground. So this would be a good shot for that. So I just, I'm a supportive citizen. I've been in this business of project management, so I know what they need to look for, and I'm going to speak for a lot of the citizens there. My father-in-law is the only last resident probably living right now. Is that correct, or am I incorrect? Okay, well, in that neighborhood. So a lot of renters there from other places. That's all I've got. I didn't mean to go over my time, sir. I just want to let you know we're supportive, but you can call me anytime. 908-328-4908, because I'm watching that project closely. Because I want to see that neighborhood grow, and then I want to see it done across the city of Gary. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Curry.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay. Can I?
Yes, please. Thank you. Is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-08? Is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-08? Is there anyone else interested in speaking to BZA 2025-08? Hearing none, the public hearing portion is closed. Does the board? Please do.
There we go. As far as just trying to answer some of those questions, we'll have, clear signage on the site to, facilitate people in and out. We are keeping one of the driveways on the south side to get into the Boys and Girls Club side. So there'll be 2 total driveways on the south, more towards the east a little bit, and then one off of Taney towards the north. We'll have stop signs at those driveways. We're also having, I can show you the site plan, but we have a lot of crosswalks in our parking lot and way more ADA spaces than we need. So safety is very important to both Boys and Girls and YMCA. You mentioned lighting. Yeah, there is some lighting out there right now that's not great, but we are putting in all brand new parking lot lighting. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but you guys are talking about probably doing security cameras outside too, right? Yep. So we'll have security cameras out there as well. Yeah, that's the main things I wanted to talk about.
Just one comment. If we could just get, if this goes to the newspaper or something, somebody needs to see what this, from the conceptual drawings to what have you come up with. Because I'll be honest, none of the neighbors know. All they know is they went to the original talk meeting and they haven't seen, they need to see pictures or something. Or you put a sign, it's coming. So whoever your PR people, I would suggest that.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. And I'm sure the members of the team would welcome any comments that you may have. I see that Ms. Sharp has shared the sign-in sheet, so you have all the information available. I'm done 3. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I move for passage.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve BZA 2025-08. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Vice President Hawkins?
Yes.
Secretary Jones?
Yes.
Member Cook?
Yes.
Member Fawcett?
Yes.
We'll show it passes at a 4-0 vote.
Thank you. I do have one question. That monument sign, where's it going?
In the front yard of the Boys Club.
In the packet, I think there should be, I think there's a site plan drawing and it's clouded in red, so it's going on 19th, yeah. It's kind of a little bit, it's kind of closer to the driveway than Taney Place, but we obviously wanted to keep it far enough away for sight distance, so.
Cool. Since you forced me to look at the site plan, I hope all of your on-lot directional directs your pedestrians to the intersections rather than allowing them to just float through the streets. Because Mr. Curry's right, 19th is a busy street, Marshall is a busy street. So I want to make sure that they use the proper crossings. I'm sorry.
Just create a blind spot. That's all I'm just saying. Just be careful.
We're done? Okay. Next item is BZA 2025-09.
The 2025-09 is also a petition by DVG Team on behalf of the Tualatin Joint Venture project. This is on the same site. It is a special use request to allow for a recreational building with medical offices. It would be the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, and Methodist Health in an R2 zone. As I mentioned earlier, it is a zoning classification of R2 and R5. Again, the proof of publication was received and complete, and prior to this meeting, we did not receive any neighborhood responses in regards to their proof of publication. Staff recommendation is favorable based on the special use criteria. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Your turn.
Yeah, I kind of covered this a little bit last time, but obviously the zoning is currently residential and Boys and Girls Club is in there owning and operating. But when our team came in and met with the city towards the end of last year, it made sense just to be clean, do it the right way, that we wanted to come in for special use for this use. As far as the partners between YMCA, Boys and Girls, Methodist Health, they're all very important partners, all have skin in the game with money, and we think they'll all provide, great benefit to the community. I think, as noted in our application, as far as public health and welfare and safety and not devaluing any properties, I think this is just going to be a great project for the neighborhood and the city.
Thank you. What's the board's pleasure? Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-09? Is there anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-09? And if there is anyone else interested in speaking for or against BZA 2025-09? Hearing none, what's the board's pleasure?
I move that we pass.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve BZA 2025-09. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Vice President Hawkins?
Yes.
Secretary Jones?
Yes.
Member Cook?
Yes.
Member Fawcett?
Yes.
I will show by a vote of 4-0. Petition 2025-09 receives a favorable recommendation, and it will go on to the City Council.
Thank you very much, Board.
Thank you. That concludes the agenda for today's meeting. Does any board member have a comment or concern? Adjournment.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to comment, Ms. Sharp. I'd like to say that I really like what you've done here in terms of the clarifications, and the material that's presented. So kudos to you.
I echo that, Ms. Sharp.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mayor Eddie Meltzer right here in the great city of Gary, Indiana. I'm truly excited about today. We have officially kicked off our Relight the City initiative, where we are fixing over 2,000 streetlights throughout the entire city of Gary. And I want to thank our city engineer, Mr. William Allen, for all of his hard work. He's been working on this for an entire year, our first year in office, and today, you see the work behind us. It is just getting started. So, Will, tell us a little bit about this project.
Thank you, Mayor Eddie Melton. Excited to be here. It took a lot of effort to understand exactly what we had in the great city of Gary, all of our assets. And right now we're on Bird Street. So as you can see, we have an old high pressure sodium fixture that just got disconnected from one of our existing poles and replaced with a new LED fixture. This particular fixture is over 2 decades old. Like I said, it's high pressure sodium. So what we replaced it with was LED, more efficient, brighter, and it's gonna cost us less money in order to operate it and less maintenance, with all the LED fixtures.
And it'll last longer, right?
And it'll last longer.
That's right. So right now, what you see us doing will take place in 2 phases. Phase 1, Broadway, 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, Ridge Road, Grant Street. That's right?
Correct.
All right, phase 2, then we're going into the neighborhoods throughout the entire city. So we want to thank the Gary Common Council for supporting this initiative. We want to thank the Biden administration for supporting this initiative through the American Rescue Plan. $3.4 million invested in the city of Gary in our infrastructure right now. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Recycling at home is easy and helps keep our city clean and sustainable. But what can you actually recycle? Let's break it down. Paper and fiber. Yes, you can recycle. Newspapers, office paper, magazines, books, file folders, junk mail, glossy paper, and envelopes. Just toss them in. But remember, no shredded paper as it can't be sorted properly. Flatten those cardboard boxes and cereal boxes before recycling. But no greasy pizza boxes, those go in the trash. Aluminum cans, tin cans, and even pie tins can be recycled, but make sure they're clean. Give them a quick rinse to remove food residue before recycling. No aerosol cans, as they're considered hazardous. Glass bottles and jars. Yes, glass containers for food and drinks are recyclable, but wash them out first. Keep the lids on after rinsing, but no mirrors, window glass, or ceramics, as they don't break down the same way. Plastics. It depends. Plastic bottles, jugs, and containers? Yes. But plastic bags, takeout containers, and prescription bottles? Nope. Instead, take plastic bags to a grocery store drop-off, or better yet, bring your own reusable bags when you shop. We only accept plastic bottles and containers numbered 1 to 5 and 7. Check the recycling symbol before dropping them off. Milk cartons, juice boxes, and broth cartons are recyclable, but remember to remove the straws first and rinse them out before recycling. Important recycling reminders. Avoid contamination. All recycling materials must be properly cleaned. Even a small amount of food or drink residue can spoil an entire load. Keep the caps. Bottle caps can be left on glass and plastic containers. No grocery bags. Do not put recyclables in plastic grocery bags. They can't be processed properly. Beyond recycling, reduce and reuse. Recycling is great, but reducing and reusing make an even bigger impact. Choose eco-friendly products, carry a reusable water bottle, and swap plastic utensils for sustainable alternatives. Small changes lead to a cleaner, greener Gary. Your city, your future. Let's keep it clean.
know the City of Gary has a 311 app? You can report any non-emergency request right from your smartphone. Need help dealing with unfair landlords? Use the app.
Girl, I just don't understand. I'm paying rent, and my landlord isn't fixing any of the issues in this apartment. What should I do?
You know you can report it on the Gary 311 app. Do you have it?
What's that?
Let me show you. Just go to your app store.
Or maybe you need to request the birth certificate.
Kim, I can't find my birth certificate.
Oh, it probably just got misplaced during the move. Actually, we can request a new one through the Gary 311 app.
Okay. New technology. I'm in.
Let me show you.
And guess what? You can even report illegal dumping.
Look at him, just dumping his garbage on private property.
Well, caught him in 4K. You know we can report him on the Gary 311 app and to GPD's Taste and Tip?
That's good.
Never feel frustrated again about an issue. Use the Gary 311 app to report all your non-emergency needs. It's a free application that allows users to report community issues, pinpoint the location with GPS, attach photos, and more. All right from your smartphone. Download the Gary 311 app today. Available on iOS